Whether you hand bind, use a Garrison binder, a 4-string binder, or any other system, your blank isn't guaranteed to come out 100% perfectly straight. If you have a good system down, then you're going to be pretty good. But sometimes you're going to get twists and bends in your blanks that are going to need to be taken care of. My name is Matt Albaugh, and I'm the rod builder from albaughcanes.com. And today I want to show you how I tackle twist in a blank. So I have a blank here that I recently glued up and bound, and it does have a minor twist in it. And I do hand binding as I go through, and generally this gives me really predictable results of having a nice straight blank without any significant twist or bends. But from time to time, they're going to occur. And generally the culprit's going to be torque and pressure on the blank that's starting to twist and spin it as you turn it. We're going to apply some heat and a little bit of pressure to this blank, and we're going to take this twist down, and I'm going to show you step by step how this is done. The first thing we're going to need to do is identify where the twists and bends are. So it's best if you have a flat surface to work on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my actual node spacing as my guide to find the twists and bends. I use a 3x3 node section, so they're pretty predictable and equal along the blank. So here's the first node, and it is perfectly straight. And as I travel down the blank, I'm going to come across to my second node on this one. And this one looks pretty good right here. And I'm going to travel down. I happen to have 3 nodes on this side. And I come across to this one. And I start to see that this node is actually a little bit twisted. So it should sit up. And if you notice, it's twisted down. I already went through and identified, and I put a couple of pencil marks as to where those twists might be. But as I went through it, I looked for each node, and that node is going to be straight, and I just run down. And a lot of times you're going to find these, just as you're sanding them, you're going to find that the blank rocks, and they're going to be very apparent. There's my second node. It's straight. And then I get down here. Oh, and right about the same place that I was before, I notice that this node is a little bit twisted towards me. So if I go back, this one is right on top. And then as I move down the blank, this last one here is twisted towards me. So I have a good idea where the twist is. It's going to be in this general area of the blank. And then I just kind of go through each section, and I intuitively look where that twist might be. So starting with that first node again, it's straight up. Then move towards the blank. This one is straight up as well. And then I get down here all the way to this node, and once again it's twisted. So I do have a little bit of a node spacing between the node on this flat, right here by my pinky, and the node on this flat. So it's straight to a point, and then there's the twist right in this area here. So all I did is I marked it with the pencil line. This is kind of where the twist ends. And down here, I've isolated it to where this is where the twist begins. And now I'm just going to get ready to apply some heat to that section. I got a Milwaukee heat gun, and I'm going to be using the low setting. I'm going to put it in a vise, and I'm going to just straighten it by hand. What I've done is I put a couple of marks of tape on this blank, and that just lets me know that the twist is in this section. That's the section I'm going to be heating up. So I'm going to be covering a range as I heat, so I can evenly distribute that heat throughout. And then I also drew some reference arrows on this piece of tape, so when I put it in the vise, which I have a little bit of rubber in there to protect it from being marred by the jaws, I know which way to twist that twist. So like I said, I'm going to keep the heat on low, and I'm just going to go slow and steady. I'm probably about a hand's worth above the heat gun on a low setting, and I'm going to run this in real time. And you'll notice that I'm going to rotate the rod as I heat it up. The gun will take a minute to warm up. I might kick it on high for a few minutes just to get the temperature up. Okay, I think the heat coils are up the temperature. I'm just going to turn it back down to low. And it's kind of a feel game. So you're just going to slowly go back and forth, rotating it. And you'll feel the temperature in your fingertips. Now I don't want it so hot that I can't hold it. But I do want to make sure that the heat is penetrating the bamboo. The glue I'm using is Titebond 3. And the thickness of this section is going to be a size 14 ferrule rod. I'm about halfway between the butt and the ferrule section on the butt side of the rod. So it's probably going to be 0.25, 0.26 would be my guess. That'd be about 1/4 of an inch thick. If you're doing tips, obviously you're going to want to go much slower and not heat up quite as much, but this is a pretty thick section, so it can withstand some heat. If you want to, you can check out my past video where I do take a section of bamboo and I push it to the limits. So that gives me the confidence to know that this piece of cane can withstand a lot more heat than I'm putting on it. I don't smell any bamboo cooking, and I don't see any discoloration, so I know I'm still in that safe zone. If you don't have a heat gun, I know some guys have done it with a hair dryer. Personally, I haven't. I don't know if that's going to produce enough heat. I don't use a hair dryer, so but you might want to give that a try if you don't have a heat gun. All right, I think we're getting pretty close. Now when I twist it, I only want to twist this straight, maybe a little bit more past straight, but that'll spring back towards me a little bit. All right, let's get this chucked up in the vise. Like I said, I got a little rubber gripper in there. You want to clamp it flat to flat, not on an apex. Just enough to hold it so it doesn't rotate. And now I drew those arrows. And now I'm just going to give it a little twist. And hold. Now I want to be careful not to go up or down or side to side with this, because I don't want to introduce a bend. I just want to get rid of the twist. And just kind of hold it there until it cools down. It won't take long to cool. Maybe give it a little bit more of a twist than it needs to overcorrect, and then it'll relax back into the natural position. Doesn't work the first time, then the second time should do the job. And you can just go through your rod, systematically find those little twists. Usually, like I said before, you find them when you're sanding your blank and you're taking the glue off. You're going to see it rocking on your flat surface. You're going to see all the sweeps. As with anybody who builds rods, you're the one who can identify every mistake you make. So it should come pretty easy to find any twist or bends. All right, I think we're pretty good. It's cooled down to the touch. We'll ease up on it a little bit. It didn't spring back much. So now we're just going to put it on the table and take a look. Okay, this blank came together pretty easily. We just had that one slight twist, and it came out with one attempt at the heat gun and vise, and I think we got a nice perfectly straight blank. If it doesn't come out the first time, work it a second time. That should do the job. Like I said, you're going to find those twists when you're doing your sanding, and you're going to find the rocking back and forth on a flat surface. So you know it's going to be there. If you don't really see it when you're sanding and it doesn't become evident, you probably don't have one. So I wouldn't stress out looking for a twist unless it's really apparent and it shows itself to you. Check out the nodes. I start with the butt section. I find the furthest node down, and then I run down that flat and I find the node furthest on the tip. And if they're both not pointing straight up, flat to flat, then I work my way in towards the middle or wherever I isolate that section. Heat it over low, some slight pressure, and you're going to have a straight blank. Check out my website, allaboutcanerods.com. From there, you can link to my Facebook or my Instagram account, and I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to watch this video. Thank you.